We are back for another episode.
Episode what? We don't know. 30-something. 40-something?
I know we've been doing this for almost a year. I know that.
We're getting there. We're cranking. We're busting them out, baby.
So listen, we joke like ultimately the longer we do this, the harder it is to come with topics. So we kind of just talk about what are we dealing with in the moment, and it's really how it inspires many of our podcast topics. But one of the things that we are grateful for is the relationship that we have with each other, because we've learned so much, and it's something that not only that we haven't taken for granted, but that it's a constant reminder for us, and that we want to have with listeners today when we talk about this topic today, is how important it is to constantly use other people as a learning tool. Because there is something, regardless of who they are as a person, good and bad, that we can learn from. If there are good qualities about a person, we want to emulate those things. If there are bad qualities about a person, we are reminded to stay away from that type of personality trait, because it's not something that we want to develop either.
Yeah, no, where this podcast topic came into play for me was when I was listening to another podcast. They were talking about how crucial a alliance can be.
Alliance,
right?
I like that.
So that's the first term that comes to mind is what we got going on here is an alliance. We sit down, we mastermind sometimes. We work off each other's energy. There's so many quality components that you can do with someone that's like-minded that you can't do on your own. And this is kind of getting more and more aware for me, is there's a lot of shit I can't do, and I've wasted so much time trying to do it, when in reality I can reach out for help from somebody else, and they can make me stronger. They can work off of me on what I'm trying to do, and it's a mutual benefit from both of us.
Yeah, one person gets to share that information, and the other one literally gets to circumvent some of those struggles, all right? Because we don't need to constantly keep going through the same struggles to arrive at the same destination. And I think that's where they're learning. If someone said you can go through less pain and achieve the same thing, would you do it? Of course.
Oh, hell yeah.
Of course. That's the whole point. And I think that when we can do that, but obviously, I think we're most inclined to learn from people that we respect, right? And that's important, because it goes back to, there's a mutual relationship. There's a thank you for spending your time to show me that, or wow, you feel like that's something that's personal that he gave up to you because they respect you, and that's how you build the relationship. I've said recently often that the relationships are built through conversation. There's no relationship without conversation, and those conversations about what we're learning or what we're doing, our experience of doing certain things, that's how we develop the relationship. Without those things, if it's just emails back and forth, we are not developing a relationship.
No, yeah, you got to talk, you got to converse. That's what builds that connection. And a quote that really resonated with me was, never take advice from somebody that you wouldn't mind trading places with.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
That's really good.
So, I'm fortunate enough to come here, learn from you, and hopefully I can deliver some value back to you. And so that's where we roll with today for the topic. 3 things that I've learned from you, and 3 things you've learned from me.
Yeah, the first one that stands out for me about you, Brett, is your humility. You found us through an internship that we hold at FGCU, and you already had been personal training for a really long time. And so when we presented you with, the internship and all the requirements there, you could have easily said no, I don't want to do that. I already got the whole training and coaching thing down. I don't need that.
Entitlement.
Pure entitlement, and I could have been, I could have understood that, okay, this guy's been personal training for 5 years, but what, I get why he doesn't think that I can offer him anything. But you didn't. You came in with an open mind through the whole process, because we started you at the most basic level of the instruction here. And a lot of those things that you were learning were repetitive. You already had known a lot of this stuff. It wasn't until we got later into some of this content about group management and then the personal side with business that I could really tell that this stuff was new for you. But a lot of the stuff in the beginning was stuff you had already known. And I appreciated that humility, because I always say that when I want to hire people, whether it's an internship or an actual job, I want to hire them based on their character traits, because the skill set teaching people how to back squat, teaching people how to stretch. Anyone can teach someone else how to do that. It's not rocket science, but to, ensure that this guy was going to follow certain protocols, or that he was going to treat the members at this gym like his own members. That stuff is the character side that I knew you had from day one, because of the way you remained humble through that whole process. I mean, you took 3.5 months through that semester, and you did that entirely free. Like, I knew that if someone like that was going to do that, that they really cared about what they were doing.
Thanks, man. Thanks. For the longest time, I've always had that kind of mindset. Hey, give up a lot up front, even whether I'm not getting paid or I'm not getting anything that's tangible in return right away, and that just trust the process. It'll follow through in the long run, where I'll kind of get some stuff on the back end. And
you even do that too today. Like, you build your credibility with a new client with a free hour personal training. You're giving up $80 that hour because you want to prove your credibility. And you are 100%, right? You are 10 out of 10 on offering those free sessions to these people and getting them to sign up as clients or members, because you built a great credibility through that process. And that goes back to, like you said, giving so much up. You almost guilt them into signing up, because you're like, this guy is giving me so much without anything in return, without wanting anything in return. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my plan of attack. I let my service and my value do the selling. I'm not trying to be a car salesman trying to get you locked into a shitty deal. It's either you like what I'm providing or you don't.
Yeah, you're
and
not
if you
putting in
don't buy my shit.
Some sleazy tactic to get them in. It's like, yeah, hey, here's our contact. We're giving you an experience. Like, what more do you want? Like, if you give them a free workout and they want a week free, like, they're trying to hustle the game, So, yeah, it's really interesting. But, no, I really respect that about you, because it's hard to find good people, and our industry is really difficult because it requires us to give everything to other people. And to do that, it requires a tremendous amount of humility, because sometimes we come in here and we want to do stuff for ourselves, right? And that's why, like, it's hard for me to work out in the gym, because, if I'm working out and a member comes in to open gym or early to class and they want my attention, I have to give it to them.
Yep.
That's what they pay for. And it takes an immense amount of humility to do that every single time, when all I really just want to do is have an hour of quiet time to myself. But, that's not why I'm here. And that requires a daily level of humility to recognize that and still really love what I do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, bro.
So first one I got is how great customer service thrives business. And this is, a perfect example. In the fitness industry, there's numerous gyms out there that sell 4 to 5 times the amount of memberships than the space or the equipment
crazy, bro.
They have.
That's unbelievable.
To deliver, their fitness lifestyle, right? All these corporate global gyms, they, their membership base, they'll never, ever, ever have enough space or equipment to fuel their membership base. So what are they doing? They're selling these memberships, assuming that these people aren't going to use it.
Wow.
I mean, it's a hard truth, but it's true, 100%. It's true. That's why you got some of these gyms that are offering $10 memberships, right? And people are buying it, but
they're banking that they don't show up.
Yeah, that's what they're banking on. And it's a complete opposite here. Our job, what I see you do very, very well, is you treat every single member like, they're your only member, right? You treat every member like they're your only member. Your focus and our focus is more about client retention, right? What we are, obviously we do market and we try to get more people in the gym. But if you're here, you're literally going to get everything we got, right? Your results, your development, that is our number one priority, right? And if someone doesn't use our membership, we're staying on and we're reaching out. We want them, because their best interest is in mind for us. So we want them to come, because that's the only way they're going to reach their goals, is if they come.
Yeah, ultimately, I just recognize that just being a good coach for an hour in one of their classes when they did show up wasn't enough, that there needed to be a level of consistency in order to do that. And we did that through creating a well-rounded customer service experience, and that's what the systems and protocols that we have. Our hit list, where I check the attendance to make sure that no one's been absent for more than 2 weeks. It's making sure that we're all sending attaboys once a week. It's the following up with people as needed to ensure that they're getting a consistency through time, because if we don't offer that, they will eventually leave. We talked about this on the podcast last week. You have to be insane to keep coming back to back and not getting the results that you want, right? And so I wanted to create a well-rounded program that would allow me to do that. So it takes a lot of energy. I don't think something like this is scalable. We can do this really well at 150, 200 members, but to scale this to a global level is impossible. It's why these gyms do so well at a higher price rate, because it controls. Most people, see, here's what most people look at. They look at it different. They're like, the price is expensive, right? I don't look at it like that. My thing is, if you bring the price too cheap, you'll bring in way too many people and lose an immense amount of value, right? So the price actually controls volume, right?
Yep.
And that's important for us, because if we get to a place like where let's just say, I mean, the economy in the US is doing amazing. $130 is the new $10 membership. I would have to raise that to $300-400 to control volume, right? Because having 300 members just to say I have 300 members is not worth it to me. Do I feel like the people that I have here are getting consistent quality service? And the answer to that right now is yes. But if we were to get to 250, 300 the way we have the system set in place, could it manage that? No way. We'd have to give something up, and we'd have to be honest and truthful of what we would be giving up. And I'm not willing to do that. I think that we do really well at that level right now here. Could we replicate this model in another facility somewhere else? Yes, but at this space with these members, with the coaching staff that we have, it's perfect.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, it comes down to quality over quantity, right? And you're talking about, the systems we have in place. That's the business owner talking from you. But as Mario the person, just to see how you react with our members, man, it's genuine, it's caring. So you have that perfect blend of a systematic approach to what we do here, which is how a true successful business works, and then you have Mario, the guy, right, the person, like just really giving a shit about everybody, and wholeheartedly you want the best for them, and you are doing that every single day, delivering the service that we offer.
Thanks, man. It's someone had described it as like, turning on and turning off switches. And I have like 5 or 6 different switches that I got to turn on and turn off at all times. In a group class, I'm the owner, I'm the coach, I'm the friend, I'm the workout partner, and I'm turning on and off these switches all the time. And a really good coach can do that. A really good gym owner can do that, because otherwise you get labeled as one over the other. And what happens is, like, you don't allow the flexibility of conversation to occur, because ultimately, Brett, all I'm trying to do is have some really good conversations with people. And to do that, I have to turn on and off these switches at all the time in order to try to connect the dots, because ultimately nothing makes me happier as I start a conversation with somebody and it allows me to help them start a conversation with another member, then they connect, then I slowly slip out of that convo. Those are my favorite things to do, because really, and I've said this to you and the coaches, is that ultimately it's the coach's job to lead and start the energy, right? But you can't constantly do that every single time in every class. You want them to connect energies together as time goes on, as they build more comfort. Because if the only time they're ever going to feel comfortable is when you're around, then you're screwed. It's like you have to handhold everybody every single day. And that's not what I want to do. I want to make relations. Hey, she's a teacher, she's a teacher. I'm going to entertain that combo and be like, hey, Rachel, did you know that so-and-so teaches right down the street from you? Boom, that's done. Plain. Walk out of combo. And that's how we connected, because really, we like people that are similar to us. And that's what I'm trying to find in those conversations, to be able to build that quality of service over time, because ultimately none of that shit from a workout perspective means anything if people don't feel comfortable around. Doesn't matter how great the coach is, doesn't matter how great the workouts are. If you feel uncomfortable around other people, which is what most people do, feel like commercial gyms, when you got the girls on the treadmills and the guys on the dumbbells, and it's just like, it's very segmented.
And people feel intimidated, some of the girls on the treadmill feel intimidated to go near the dumbbells because it's all these guys grunting and lifting heavy weight. So, it's in our mission statement. We are trying to build a community and keep working out fun.
That's it, man.
Right?
That's it.
So you have that component. Everything else just is all byproduct to that.
Thanks, bud. The other thing that I really respect about you is you are willing to get yourself uncomfortable by trying new things. And
that was a 5K.
That, like the 5K, which I still can't believe Brett's never run more than 1 mile in a row. He did Murph, which is 2 miles in total, but you break that with a bunch of body weight exercises. But to never have run, that's crazy, bro. Your boy ran a marathon when I was in college. 26.2.
The Disney one.
Yeah,
right?
The Disney one. So you run through the park. It's a really cool experience, but it's still awful. 26
How far
miles
is the marathon?
26.2 miles.
Damn.
26.2 miles, bro.
Bro, so
4 hours.
When we get there for the 5K, Thanksgiving Day, don't try to race me, bro. I'm going to let you go.
No, you're going to let me go?
I'm going to let you go, dog.
No, what I was going to do, I was going to bait you because the 5K is just really uncomfortable. And so if you don't really pace from the get, you're screwed at like a mile and a half in. So I was going to push you really hard and uncomfortable, and then you just would have petered out. So now you can...
I'm prepared for that.
Yeah, ready?
I figure you would have do some shit
do
like that.
So you're just going to try to start slow?
I'm going to let you go, dog, and I'm going to let you go.
Damn, bro. I'm trying to beat you, dog. You got to really hog me down if you're going to beat me on the back end, if you give me that much gap. That's the thing. If you give me too much gap, there's no way to make it up. You can't start with like a 12-minute mile, do your last one at 7 and still beat me. There's too much of a gap between your splits. So, yeah, no, it's going to be fun. So, but it's that. You got a lift-off coming up. You just did a CrossFit competition. You set up for a physique photo shoot one time, I remember, and you tried to get as lean as you possibly can. And so you always stay open-minded where, I'm like old school. Like, for me, it's like if it's not broken, don't try to fix it, But I know that if I don't try new things, I'm leaving myself up to a possibility of something new that I would have never tried otherwise. And so when I hear about the stuff that you're doing, it encourages me to go try new things. I would not run this 5K if we didn't sit back and forth to be like, should we do it? Should we not? I'd be like, nah, I haven't run this 5K in 4 years. 4 years. So those things, you challenge me to really step out of my comfort zone. It's why, I tried that float therapy a few weeks ago because I just wanted to be like, all right, I'm not, I'm in the same routine. I want to get out of that. How do I get out? Let me go try something new. What can I do? And then that came up. So, no, I really respect that about you because it goes back to a lot of things. One is that you might recognize that you might suck at this. And are you okay with trying something new that you're going to suck at first? And it takes a level of humility, that, sometimes I have to question whether I have or not.
Yeah, so, kind of my, to put a little more context behind what I do is I always need to be working towards something or I literally, like my day-to-day motions, I'm just moving, right? I'm just kind of living.
Feels like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah. So I literally have to commit to something, I got this from a mentor of mine, but, I call it a date on the calendar, right? You find a date on the calendar, whether it's a 5K, a vacation, any type of deadline, right? And it forces you to work towards that date on the calendar, or you show up that day and you look like shit and you're a failure and like just kind of making yourself vulnerable, right? It forces you like a different type of focus. It forces you to apply training towards that, whatever the hell the case may be. Or you show up on game day and look like a fool, right? And I refuse to let that happen.
Of course. And you know that about your personality, that you're going to work as hard as possible to do something.
So I feel like if you can constantly just live that lifestyle to where there's always something
that's great.
You work towards, right? You won't become stagnant. You won't hit any plateaus. And it's always changing, right? My goals are different all the time. Like I said, I told someone I was doing a online powerlifting meet and 5K the week after. They're like, well, that doesn't make any type of sense. I'm like, to who it doesn't make any type of sense, right? Like, it's a challenge, right? I'm trying to both be as strong as I can,
as fast as you can,
and run as fast as I can. So like, how doesn't it make sense?
Right.
So
I love that. Well, and I think in our industry, it's even easier because it's not arbitrary. It's you're either going to try to improve a physical skill, you're either going to try to improve your body composition, or you're trying to attempt an event of some sort. Those are the only 3 types of fitness goals that we have in our industry: event, body composition change, or physicality, a change in physicality, trying to do something more or faster than you can currently. And that's easy for us. But I think you're right. I think that we get complacent and we don't New Year's is coming up. What the hell is everyone going to do? They're going to do one of those 3 things, but they're only doing that once a year, and many times don't have enough skill sets and habits or, like you said, alliances set up in place to even actually succeed with those things.
Mm-hmm. No, good.
So, yeah, dude, I need to do better at that, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is with this 5K, so you're going to get schooled, son.
Nah, I mean, hey, you can go ahead, bro. I'll let you go. You know what? I want to try to find a system in how I can do this for like business or from a financial standpoint too. I just haven't really figured that out yet, right? Everything is always fitness related.
Sure.
But now I'd like to try to come up with something like more of a deadline on either a financial standpoint or like a business standpoint.
Sure.
So to be determined.
It's an event, dog, and you've seen how I do stuff. I work backwards. What is the event? Right? Events are easy because you can't change the date. They've already set those up for you. And you just got to work backwards from there. If it's, something you want to self-create, you got to give yourself a little bit more logical time frame. I think anything within that 4 to 12 week mark to get something proficient out there is the way to do it. You got to work backwards, dog. Mm-hmm. So, and chip at it. What is my favorite quote? The road of 1,000 miles began with one step. You got to feel like, ultimately, we don't want to feel like we're going in the wrong direction, and that's what irks me ever, when I feel like the actions I'm taking are pushing me away from my goals, and so I always want to feel like I'm moving toward them.
Perfect segue to my next, what I learned from you, and execution is key, right? Road to 1,000 miles starts with one step.
Yeah.
You posted, you're coming up with an article soon that's you posted a Facebook post saying, if you could describe me in one word, what would it be, right? So I commented, executioner. You're executioner. You make a decision and you move on it right then and there, right? You don't overthink it. You make your decision and you act on it. And I commend you for that. And that's something that I've got to get better at personally is execution. Don't overthink things. Commit and then go ahead and work towards it.
Yeah. What holds you back from that? Ultimately, you want to know why I do so well? Because I don't care, dog.
Yeah.
I don't care. The whole point of making decisions is because I feel like it has an opportunity for growth, and that's it. And I will never find out unless I make the decision to do it. Now, I don't take high risk. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like, hey, I'm going to remortgage my house to buy a nice car. That's stupid. Mm-hmm. No, they are calculated risk by far, but like what's the worst is going to happen? That idea doesn't work. I have a million ideas that I got to keep settling on, decide which ones I'm going to execute or not, and just take my decisions are proofs of concepts. That's all they are. That's all they are. Is like, can this thing that I'm thinking about with a few more steps and decisions gain traction? Mm-hmm. And you can feel that. That's momentum. When it's gaining traction,
is real,
it's
man.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
And if I feel like it's going in that direction, then I keep running with it. If I don't feel like it's there, I let it go.
You do something else.
And I just never cared, bro, because if I did, it would always been that what if. And man, that idea of I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I just didn't take an extra step. And this is the freaking United States of America. You can do whatever you want to do. There are so many opportunities. And so when I think about that, and I meet some people that I meet, like especially with a lot of the international people that are members that are coming here for season, do other stuff, and they tell me how they were raised or why they come to the States on temporary visas to work.
Very interesting.
You're like, bro, this is like, I'd be dumb not to try to push myself forward and elevate myself. These guys are fighting here. My parents were immigrants. They were both born in Cuba. Like, this is why people fought to be in this country. And I want to constantly keep challenging myself. Life is too special, bro, to just sit on ideas. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, no, you got to act and then learn on the way, right? that's the best way to learn is by doing. And yeah, no, that's a great takeaway from you. You know, you don't. I don't even want to say the quote because I'll probably butcher it. But in regards to knowledge, okay, so people say knowledge is power, right? But knowledge is not power without any action following.
Yeah, it's potential power. Yeah.
Exactly, potential power. And you know, yeah, no, it's great, man. You can't overanalyze shit without doing anything. At the end of the day, you can't overanalyze shit without doing anything. Because at the end of the day, if you don't act on it, you're not going to really get anywhere.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I would encourage you, dog. I think that I wouldn't overthink it. I think we get in trouble. Like the saying we use in training is paralysis by analysis. The more cues and things you give people the opportunity to overanalyze, the worse the movement gets in real time. Yeah. I saw one really good one. I gave them 2 or 3 different cues because I got excited. They do it again, it looks completely different because they're trying to overanalyze everything you just said. And then I have to stop and say, hey, just do what you did on that first rep again, and then it looks good again. And that's kind of like how we should deal with, taking action, is that if you analyze yourself too much about the process, you'll never be able to move yourself forward. And
basically, you just got to overcome the fear of fucking up, right?
But what is that? What is that ultimately? Like,
exactly. So this is where I'm getting at, in the fear of what others might think about you.
Who cares?
Exactly. Right? Yeah. No, I agree.
I didn't start a business to care about what other people thought about me. I did it because I felt like I can help other people. And like, you shared the quote the other day, you either win or you learn. And I think the moment people feel like they lose is the moment they feel like they got nothing out of it. That's when they truly lose, because there was no growth through that. They give up. And I just never felt that way. So
keep rolling with that, dog. You're doing something right, baby.
The other one I wanted to say was, I think one of the things you do above all, and I joke about you with this, is that you have a persona and an appearance that you hold yourself to, right? And you're very systematic about that. You attempt to dress a certain way. You try to articulate yourself a certain way, and you try to do that as consistently as possible. Where going back to my quality of not giving a damn, that also can show up as a little scrubby or lackluster. Like, this guy doesn't care. He doesn't get haircuts. He wears the same 3 shorts. He's got holes in them. And I think what I could do better learning from that is that I'm not saying like people ultimately, because we judge with our eyes, will ultimately always deal with appearances first. And sometimes I have to give a little bit more effort to give me the chance to people to work through that first judgment to really get to know me for who I am as a person. Because I don't care, I shut up opportunities with people because I feel like they are judging me by the shitty truck that I drive, or when I drop my son off to school, the shitty clothes that I'm wearing when I drop them off. And it limits an opportunity to have interactions with people because maybe they're thrown off by how different I am in comparison, or the way I talk. I have to be very careful the way I talk because I joke like I'm a ghetto kid, right? I was, born in Golden Gate States when it used to be called the Hood, and so I get that slang that comes out, or I curse a little bit more than I should around people, and I should care about those things because that stuff can throw away an opportunity for a great relationship with somebody.
Yeah, no, an attractive appearance and an attractive personality is how you can sell, fairly quickly, or, that's kind of my point from there is just, give off an attractive appearance and personality, and it, like you just said, it gives more people benefit. It gives yourself the benefit of the doubt to establish connections more quickly, efficiently, and more regularly.
Yeah, no, and it's obvious that you don't do that by coincidence. It is direct and purposeful, and I've learned that from you because I don't know anyone who's got your style or who really you really think about what you're going to say before you say it. I can see you doing that in your head when you do that, And that's because you're trying to make sure you say the right things. And I respect that, where, like I said, sometimes I say, like, sometimes I get so tired with trying to please everyone that I just stop caring about what I say, and that's dangerous too. Because I'm like, if you don't like it, I'm the owner. Like, like try something new. Like, you don't have to be here, and I have to be careful with that, you know, because you can't say that. That's rude, right? And so I have to be careful, just putting myself as the title and just reminding that I'm a person, this is another person, and we're trying to converse as respectful as possible, where sometimes I just let the conversation loose.
Right off the tongue.
Yeah.
Huh?
And with a really close friend at my house drinking a beer, that's fine.
Yeah.
But in a professional setting, and it's always about what I talked about, it's those switches, is being able to turn on the switches. And at first, I did this years ago and I thought it was fake. It was like, it was... when I was with my friends, I was the ghetto mini, right? But as soon as I walked into the gym, I had to change the voice and the presentation. And then when I worked out, I had a different character. And at first I thought that was fake. And what I came to realize years later was, no, that was just respecting the environment in which I was in. And that's really important to do, because you have to learn to turn on and off those switches no matter where you're going. And I just think it gives us an opportunity to really have better conversations with people when they're not really thrown off with a major change in character from one moment to the other.
You're just basically connecting with intent, right? You know, the people you're around, there is a purpose for that relationship and that connection, right? And you are moving and talking with intention. Okay,
Yep.
That's really all you're doing. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong.
that's true.
There's nothing wrong about that.
Yeah, thanks, man. And yeah, and it took a while to learn, and I think it's, you know, we have a special relationship because I'm friend, partner, partner in training. I'm your boss. We share information, knowledge bombs all the time, and so we're always weaving in and out of those. And I think we do a really good job with that.
I think so too, man. I think so too.
Cool, bro.
Yeah, last one I got for you. You're a competitor. You know, there's no doubt about it. You're a competitor in business. You're a competitor in group class. You're a competitor, no matter what it is, and that can be a huge strength. A huge strength. You know, you're not worked up on what other gyms are doing around us, but we've talked. You know, we've mentioned it, and it's not in a way to where, you know, you're just trying to, you know, one up them, but it's kind of the awareness on where the fitness industry is moving. And at the end of the day, you want our gym to be the best gym, right? So you're kind of paying attention, not in a way to where you're trying to take some of their shit or anything like that, but you're paying attention in a way like, how am I handling the operations in our gym to be better than them?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, for sure. I take it, my philosophy there is like a football game strategy. I coached 1 year of football and I was terrible at it. I did it because it was part of the deal and being transferred to the teaching job that I was in, and I promised a really good coach that I would help him out that year, but I didn't know jack about football. And so as I got into the culture, one of the things that I recognized that really intrigued me is that they studied film incessantly. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Like, the day that the one of the jobs I had is after the game was over, I had to take the videos and upload it, because on Saturday morning they were going to go over it, and then they went over it all week.
Yeah.
And so
Done that.
And yeah, so you know that, right? And what interesting me, what they were doing, which is what I do, is it gives you a realistic look at the landscape, right? I don't want to try to guess what it is that they're doing. I want to know. And I do that with a non-attachment. I don't compare myself to be like, they're doing this and we're not doing. I could care less. But I want a general realistic look at the landscape. And it's even easier now because we have YouTube and Instagram and Facebook that I can connect to any gym, or even more important than the gym are the CrossFit consulting groups. It's the thing that elevated us, Brett, to where we are today, is the consulting groups was doing that for us. They took the average best practices of the CrossFit communities and they gave it to us to learn. And so it really helped me just do that. And that's what I do now. I judge what we're doing with the best gyms in the world. And I'm saying, okay, there's an opportunity there that they are really pushing that we don't even talk about. How can we move in that direction? That's how nutrition came about, which was like a lot of the really big gyms started to push nutrition at a level that I've never seen before. I'm like, they're not even talking about CrossFit anymore. They're just talking about nutrition and this and that. I'm like, we don't have anything like that. And that's what that push
bring
was
that
last
in
year.
here, yeah.
Yeah. And so it was things like that that really helped me just, I think it started with my mom and it moved into sports, and it was basically like, if you're gonna do something, give it 110% effort. It is not worth your time to do something half-assed because you're being told to do something. Do it or don't do it and give it full effort and love it, or don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And that's how I moved into business. It's like I feel like my life is valuable, and if I'm gonna take time to do something, I want to do it well.
Yeah.
And that's where that comes from. So I appreciate that, man. I'm always going to be a competitor. It's why I fell in love with CrossFit. It's why I went back to school. Like, what did the NBA do for me, Brett? You want to know what it did? Absolutely nothing. But from the NBA perspective, I didn't say, okay, I'm leaving, the gym and going to a corporate world. No, I did it because I wanted to compete. I wanted to know that I can do that, that I can challenge myself into that program. That's why I did it. It wasn't like I thought I was gonna get this job and now I don't have it. No, I did it because I wanted to compete. And the next decision I'm gonna make is because I decide I want to compete to the next level. I want to compete to be the best father I can be, the best coach, the best athlete. It's why I lost the 20 pounds. It was like, I didn't feel like me being 20 pounds heavier allowed me to compete at my best level. And so I had to realistically look at like, how in the hell am I going to compete at that level again there? Well, I got to get the weight down. It was just like, it's no brainer. Like, it wasn't even like, all right, can I be, out of shape and still compete? The answer was no. All right, how do I tighten that up now? And so, yeah.
No, that's how you got to be. You got to be a competitor. And sometimes it's to the extent where, like, maybe a sore loser. I mean, you're kind of flirting around, like, not you specifically, but a true competitor
always cares.
Hates losing.
100%.
Hates losing, right? So if you're like, oh, okay, it's whatever, it's a loss, like, hell no, if you show me someone that's, good at losing, you're showing me a loser, right? You're showing me a loser.
Of course.
At the end of the day, we're trying to win here, and it takes that competitive nature, that competitive fire to always strive to win and always win.
Yeah, and non-competitors, I think, non-athletes, non-former athletes, they struggle with that. They're like, I don't want to compete, or if that there's aggression or some other like personality trait that they don't want to develop. It's not about that. I think that for me, competition is just really taking an honest look at yourself and saying, are you giving all your effort? Mm-hmm. Are you putting that in?
Could be within yourself.
What's one of my quotes about effort? The best indicator of interest is effort, or effort is the best indicator of interest. All right. Effort is the best indicator of interest. And that's like, if people are not trying, they're not putting in enough. Like, why waste your time? I joke all about that in the morning. I'm like, dude, you're here at 5:30, man. You better put in the effort because you showed up, right? Or if it's like, it's a Sunday for specialty programs and they come in. Listen, today was the only day that you could, like, your sanity could have been okay with taking off. And you guys are here, and I respect that effort, and that's important because they're using that extra day to become a little bit more competitive, to take the time to become more flexible or do our barbell club, because they think that taking that action on a Sunday while everybody else is chilling is an extra effort they can be to compete. And that it's attractive. Competitive people to me are attractive because you can tell that they're constantly pushing themselves, man, and that's cool. That's why I love what I do.
Yeah, you can count on them to do their part because they have that nature behind them, right? You can count on them to try to get that next leg up over, someone surrounding them, right? Because they got the competitive nature.
Hey, listen, you made me feel really good about myself today,
Hey,
bro.
You too, man. I appreciate that, bro.
No, I mean, ultimately, we felt like this was the way to really, like, allow people to hear how open and honest we are about each other and how much we respect each other, but honestly, how important it is for other people to have that with other people in their life. I think a lot of our members respect us for what we do, but they also think it comes easy, and it doesn't. We put a lot of deliberate effort into everything that we do to be this way, and I just hope that other people are doing that with other people in their lives and looking up to them. And not only that, but telling them, Brett. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to be like, yeah, I respected, my dad, but I never told him. Like, no, tell them. Nothing would mean more than my boys tell me when they can actually speak English and they don't speak Jack right now, is that I love you. Thank you so much for telling me that, Dad. Or I never forgot when you told me that. Like, that stuff would crush my heart because it's like, That's why I work so hard, is for them to be able to respect and admire who I am as a person. And when someone else can verbally say that, it's powerful, dude.
Yeah,
it's powerful stuff.
It just comes down to showing gratitude if, with the connections you're building. And there's no doubt about it, you can always strive and do more with some assistance, some help from somebody else than you can do yourself.
100%, bro. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.
Later.